Good day, here are the headlines from the Philippine News Agency. We start with the fulfillment of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s promise to look after the welfare of healthcare workers. The Department of Budget and Management announces today it would release approximately 27 billion pesos tomorrow, July 5, to settle all unpaid claims for the Health Emergency Allowance or HEA of healthcare workers. The DBM says the issuance of a special allotment release order and notice of cash allocation amounting to 27.4 billion pesos is upon the request of the Health Department last May. This funding will cover the payment of over 5 million remaining validated unpaid HEA claims and 4,283 COVID-19 sickness and death compensation claims for eligible healthcare and non-healthcare workers. Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman says this is a promise fulfilled as the DBM expedited the release of the fund requested by DOH initially for 2025. According to DBM data, a total of 91.2 billion pesos has been released to the DOH for public health emergency benefits and allowances from 2021 to 2023, of which 73.2 billion pesos has been specifically allocated for the HEA. The PHEBA or Public Health Emergency Benefits and Allowances includes special risk allowances, compensation for COVID-19 sickness and death, and additional benefits such as meals, accommodation, and transportation allowances for healthcare workers. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered government agencies to streamline e-visa processing for Indian nationals to further boost local tourism. The President issued the directive on Wednesday during the 6th meeting of the Private Sector Advisory Council or PSAC Tourism Sector Group at the Malacanang Palace. During the meeting, PSAC Tourism Sector Group member and LT Group President and CEO Lucio Tan highlighted the current challenges. He says the e-visa process for Indian tourists can take about a month, making the Philippines a less attractive destination. This as Indian nationals are still required to make a personal appearance at the Philippine Embassy in New Delhi under the existing e-visa system. To address these issues, PSAC recommends engaging a third-party service provider to establish and maintain the e-visa system under the guidance of relevant government agencies. Tan says this will ensure that the program is consistently monitored and that any challenges in the process and the system will be immediately addressed. The move is also expected to streamline the application process and generate more applications. The PSAC Tourism Sector Group reported that Indian citizens frequently visit the country, staying for an average of 8 nights and spending $100 per person per day in the Philippines. There are approximately 78% of Indian visitors who opt to stay in hotels and enjoy various activities such as shopping, sightseeing, beach vacations, diving, visiting loved ones, and engaging in business ventures, all of which contribute positively to the tourism sector. The group also pointed out that India's rapidly expanding economy and increasing middle class will lead to 30 million outbound trips by 2025. The House of Representatives aims to pass the proposed 6.3 trillion pesos national budget for 2025 by the end of September. In a statement, House Speaker Martin Romualdez says the government's spending plan for next year would be a top priority in the upcoming session of Congress on July 22. In addition to passing the remaining LEDAC priority measures, the House will also work doubly hard to pass the proposed budget before the end of September. They will then send it to Senate for its consideration. Romualdez says the chamber would ensure sufficient funding for key sectors such as education, the modernization and welfare programs of the armed forces, and the legacy projects of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. He also underscores the need to fund the health, agriculture, infrastructure, and defense sectors to make food products accessible and affordable, as well as continuing to build infrastructure, reaching even the remotest communities to sustain and expand economic growth. Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman earlier said the Development Budget Coordination Committee would submit the proposed 2025 national budget to Congress on July 29, 1 week after the President's third State of the Nation address or SONA. Meanwhile, the House is in its final stage of preparation for the SONA this month. House Secretary General Reginald Velasco made the remark following an interagency meeting held at the Heroes Hall in Malacañang on Tuesday. Velasco says they are ready to adjust to accommodate their partners from the Office of the President and the Senate. On Monday, officials from the OP did an initial walkthrough of the SONA scenario from the President's arrival to his delivery of the SONA and its aftermath. Meanwhile, room designations for all the guests on SONA Day were finalized on Tuesday. The final meeting for the SONA preparations is scheduled on July 15. The President will deliver his third SONA at the Batasang Pamansa Complex in Quezon City on the afternoon of July 22 after the opening of the 19th Congress session in the morning. The Philippine National Police is set to deploy 22,000 police officers in various areas in Metro Manila for the event. In news overseas, no Filipinos so far have been reported hurt or killed after Hurricane Beryl made landfall on Monday on the island of Grenada in South America. Second Secretary and Consul Mark Lim of the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. says the embassy is closely monitoring the situation in Grenada. Meantime, the embassy advises Filipinos living in areas where Hurricane Beryl may strike to take precautions. About 9,000 Filipinos are living in the Caribbean. A recent bulletin from the National Hurricane Center says Hurricane Beryl is pulling away from Jamaica after downgrading from Category 5 to Category 4 with maximum sustained winds of 209.2 kilometers per hour and moving west-northwest at 33.7 kilometers per hour. Beryl is threatening parts of the Yucatan Peninsula and Belize with damaging winds, storm surges, and heavy rainfall. It is expected to move over the western Gulf of Mexico and hit eastern Mexico or South Texas in the United States by this weekend. In other news, the management and the labor unions of the recently closed Sofitel Philippine Plaza Hotel in Pasay City have agreed to settle their labor dispute, according to the Department of Labor and Employment. Philippine Plaza Holdings, the management of Sofitel, and the labor union's National Union of Workers in Hotel, Restaurant, and Allied Industries Philippine Plaza Chapter and Philippine Plaza Supervisors Chapter signed a settlement agreement in Manila on Tuesday. Under the agreement, the parties have agreed to give separation packages for regular employees who will choose to leave, as well as for those who choose to stay in the country and wait for its reopening. The separation package includes increases in their monthly salary for 2023 and 2024 until June 30, as well as separation pay, appreciation bonus, and other benefits. For employees who did not accept the separation package, the employment relationship shall be deemed suspended, along with their benefits. If the hotel reopens under the same company, they will be accepted back under the same terms and conditions in their applicable CBA or collective bargaining agreement. There will also be renegotiations for each union CBA, which will expire on December 31, 2024. The DOLE and National Conciliation and Mediation Board will closely monitor the compliance with the settlement agreement. And that's the latest and the biggest stories on the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, please visit our website, pna.gov.ph, or our Facebook and X account, Philippine News Agency. The Pna Headlines is also streamed via the Silabisyo Facebook page. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website, nib.gov.ph, under Pna News. I am Bench Bondok. This is the Pna Headlines, bringing stories that unite the nation.